Everyone I know listens to podcasts. Anyone who's anyone has their own podcast. You could start your own show even if no one asks. It's easy to record yourself and act like an ass. Murder, sports and politics, histories or movies, heist or technology. There's an audience for everything. Yes, but who on earth will listen to three random Vatos reading books?
Let's do it so that we can capture everything on the podcast.
You're on, buddy.
On the podcast. Podcast number 4.
All right, go ahead and explain what the hell happened.
What exactly?
In terms of Corona and us coming to a halt.
All right. So coming back to you after how many weeks do you guys think it's been?
Do you guys since our last filming, 3 weeks.
3 weeks,
probably.
just under a month maybe. So like everyone else, probably we have been keeping up with the news and adjusting our behavior. So we have been quarantining again. Excuse me, I'm drinking some beer. Yeah, and so it's pretty. I mean, we're in a hotspot right now. We're in Austin, right? So it is. I think what I saw at one point a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, was if Austin or if Texas were its own country, we would be the 7th worst hotspot in the world. And so that's just to give some
That's
perspective.
not the list you want to be on. Yeah.
Yeah. So we obviously decided to not meet in person for a while, and we were going to try to wait it out, but we just decided it's been a while, so Zoom it is.
And man, our audience, you guys missed out on one hell of a would have been episode. We had so much planned, and then instead we're on Zoom now,
Yeah, well,
I got my trusty Yeti that still makes the same amount of squeaky noise when I open it, so there's still some consistency in that.
You're like a DJ. Scratching.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about our lighting, man. What's going on with me? You guys look good over there. Robert, you in particular, you look very white.
Thank you. Kelsey, as you know.
But your room looks
Kelsey
white.
got the ring light, and she set up this background for me. So I'm hooked up.
I hope you didn't buy the China just for the episode.
Actually, this is all wallpaper.
It's a green screen.
Yeah. No, I try to adjust my environment too. In real life, this would not work having my seat in front of my bookshelf here. I just thought bookshelf better than a blank wall.
Were you thinking bookshelf and guitar, or is that too much? Oh shoot, I said that before I saw your guitar. Trying the background being what looks cool in the background.
Actually, so my guitar hanger is I've been meaning to move that. So very rarely is my guitar actually on there, because usually what's on there is my chair that I'm on. And so this kind of works out just because I can have both my bookshelf and my guitar. But
I said that not knowing that the guitar was there, but for whatever reason I saw it creeping on the sides. I'm like, oh shoot, I really wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, good luck.
And Marcus, you're in your little what do you call that room? We've all been there, but what do you call that? Little lounge room?
It started off as the jiu-jitsu room, but then it never really turned into that. And then now I guess it's kind of like a library. I got a couple bookshelves over here. And then
nice.
Really just the extra shit room,
Yeah, you've got a new refrigerator there.
Oh yeah, a little big fridge, and then my favorite painting probably. And then
what is that painting called?
I don't know, but it's mysterious, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really tell what's going on. There's a head there, but is that are those thoughts coming out of the head?
No. This guy, can you see my mouse? No, you can't see my mouse. Let me see. Can you see my finger? Okay. That guy is in the middle of this blonde girl in the back, and then this redhead in the front. And then this redhead looks kind of like she has a secret, or, she's kind of happy for whatever reason. And then this guy is looking at her. And then I don't know, this lady back over here, she looks kind of anguished. So I'm thinking that his attention to her for some reason has her anguished. But that's just my interpretation.
Cool. Yeah, I really can't make out the painting, so I really can't appreciate what you're saying there. But that's cool. That's cool.
I'm like, dude, I have terrible eyesight. I'm like just squinting so I can see it. I can't. And I'm wearing glasses.
Hey, Robert, what is that little quote behind you?
Oh, well, it's from the good old.
Whoa, that's like you just leaning back like that is very like perspective shifting. It's like one of those like optical illusions almost. Like that.
Yeah,
That
look
seems.
Look at this. Home is where the
That's cool.
heart is, because basically it's an old saying. I think it's a Southern saying. So just put it on a sign, and it really gives that home vibe.
I wonder if there was someone who can claim to be the originator of that quote. Home is where the heart is.
Maybe Jesus Christ.
maybe back to Jesus of Nazareth. All right, on with the podcast. We're this is 3. There are two more words.
3
more of you.
Three random
Vatos. And again, you got to give us a
go.
break here. This is our first time trying this with Zoom. We know there's going to be some awkward moments, some squeaky drinks, but hopefully a good conversation talking about a book that I had to listen to today.
Yeah, what the hell, man? I mean, it felt like I had to like re-go through all my notes again just to catch myself up.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Didn't you just read it too?
Yeah, I just read it today.
Come on, what do you mean go through your notes?
No, I mean I had to
No,
like
I
couldn't just jump into the new part. I had to, retrace how I got to where I was.
Man,
and it still wasn't fully answered, was it? Oh, Marcus, just because you can mind read it and you don't need someone reading it out to you doesn't make you smarter than us.
I know. Did you alluded earlier to possibly finishing the next book club? Were you alluding to the next book in our club?
Marcus is throwing shade over here.
I was just throwing shade. I was trying to make you guys feel bad about reading slow.
Oh.
Did it work?
I thought you were actually saying you were like jumping ahead to the next book.
Hey, I'm actually impressed with how fast I can read. It's more of like just opening the book and reading. It's always been a problem of mine. But this is what this book club is for. And do I feel like I cheated listening to the audiobook? Not so much, because it turns out it's a lot more confusing when you're trying to like just full on concentrate because you're not looking at anything. And I wasn't even on social media because I was trying to concentrate. So I just found myself looking at the home screen, and I felt like an idiot after 5 minutes of realizing that I wasn't looking at anything. Anyway.
I don't really listen to audiobooks. I guess I listen to podcasts, so this is maybe the equivalent of that. But I find it's pretty easy to close your eyes. Like I'll like oftentimes just like lay in bed and put a podcast on and just like close my eyes.
Yeah, but I couldn't do that because I already knew what would happen if I closed my eyes for like more than 2 minutes. I was knocking out, and then I would have had to come up with an excuse to postpone this. Like, guys, my left foot, I sprained it.
Yeah.
But no, I got through it. And
hey, I'm glad you guys decided to overrule my wanting to meet in person today. What was that about?
It was a real curveball,
psycho or what?
No, I know what you. Yeah, I'm too paranoid, and it's it was.
Yeah, it's a really bizarre thing. But I guess what I was thinking though was like in anticipation of this podcast, I was just like reflecting on our previous podcasts, and I wonder if it's evident at all to anyone who's watched all 3 of them. Like, hopefully there's someone out there who's actually seen all 3 so far. But I wonder if it's evident that like we've actually gotten better at the podcast. Because like, we were just kind of catching our, getting into a little flow of it. And then fucking coronavirus comes and says, I'm not done with you yet.
Not today. Yeah.
I wonder how many people have like watched all 3 podcasts. I mean, I think it's got to be less than 10, like viewers actually.
Oh, I mean, it's definitely less than 10, man. Why don't we talk about numbers? Like I think maybe what's kind of cool. I like it when podcasts that I'm listening to are like just like very transparent. And so, like we've been looking at our numbers, right? And our first podcast has like 280 something views. I mean, no. 180?
I haven't checked
Do I got that
all
right?
the time. I don't know.
Oh man, I already forgot. It's been a while, I guess, since I checked too. But it's been interesting just to see the number of people who have even like bothered to click on our episode, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of cool. We should probably take a more active role, or I should at least, in like looking at the trend, you know? Like
I think you said this last episode.
I don't know
You
that
had this exact speech.
I've
Do you
said
think I
this
should
to
show
you
more,
guys
like,
privately.
arm skin? Like, do you think to get more viewers, I should show like?
Hey, you know what I noticed
Or-
though, Marcus, you've cut me off the thumbnail, bro. 2 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Actually, no. In your defense, like Robert, I think was the only thumbnail for the 3rd episode. I don't know what you're trying to suggest there. I was like only part of the 1st episode. But that's interesting too, right? I'm sure that is like part of a strategy for some people to just like make a really cool thumbnail.
Marcus, thinks you're conspiring against him.
No, dude. No, it's been I've just been lazy. Like with the, I mean, you just have 3 options to choose, unless like you are
really
making your own thumbnail. Yeah, like Sarah makes her own thumbnails, or she's been making her own thumbnails. It's been pretty good. I should probably.
Okay, if we were like famous YouTubers and we had to do a thumbnail where it has like a picture of our face reacting, what would yours be? Mine's like.
Well, we should all do ours at the same time. That way we can like all. Okay, hold that face, and I'll come up with one, and then Art can do one, and then we'll just use that as that.
Wait, what was yours, Robert? I can't.
All right.
You know what?
That's
this
all
maybe isn't. I've got like terrible lighting here. You guys at least have.
Well, do something like, like that'll just draw. There we go. No, do the one. Do the
wait. Do it again.
Like you are gonna hurt somebody. Yeah, keep that one.
Art, you have to make a noise. I think I have to see you.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I'm trying to get to the book.
I know.
So here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing about the book. I'm just trying to stretch out the conversation because I'm like, all right, what do you want to know? I could tell you in like 5 sentences or less, but. That's always been my approach. And Art, I'll let you go. Take it from here.
I guess I will start off. Robert, I feel like you've started off 2 episodes this way already, where you're like, this was a kind of boring section.
Dude, every time. Listen, what point can I not make clear?
This one was a little. So one, we're introduced to new characters, right? So like, I think only parts 2 and 3. Were parts that use the same characters, like Salvador or Hardin, mainly. But so we're again. They don't even tell us, right? Like how ahead they jumped.
No, they're giving up at this point. They're like, you know what? Just guess for yourself.
I think you get the sense that it's like a generation.
Time has definitely passed, but like we're literally not. We're not even in Terminus anymore. We're well, okay. So before we get into the chapters, let me just say it was a little, just kind of difficult to kind of get back into the world because one, it's been a while since we've like visited the book, and then 2, it's just like a new part with new characters, and it just wasn't super compelling. But I don't want to like totally,
I think we took too long between books.
I think some diehard fans are going to totally be like, what?
I know.
That's the best fucking part, bro. Without that, it's nothing.
We let ourselves fall out of it. I thought it was a pretty good part. I think it holds up with the other parts.
Okay, so why don't we get into chapter 1? Who wants to start chapter 1 here?
Robert?
Why don't you guys go back?
So the part.
Okay. I'm here.
Start with the part though.
The part?
Yeah, like part 4. We're on part. Excuse me, part 4. I just burped. Part 4.
The
traders, right? So that's the new thing. So 1 was the damn. What was part 1?
I don't know, Art. I was the one chosen to summarize.
Okay. I'll do it.
No. I just wanted to make sure you got the part before you
guys read
chapters. So part 1 was the psycho. Part 1 was the psychohistorians. Psychohistorians. Part 2 was the encyclopedias.
Oh, dude, I thought you. Yes.
Part 3 were the mayors, and then part 4, which we just did, was traders.
You do realize that you're like the kid they picked to do the presentation when you haven't studied, so you're like, let's talk about this main point, but before we do, let's talk about what happened. He's just like, let's name every book I've read.
Yeah. Okay, Robert, take it away. Sorry, floor is yours.
Okay. All right, this is what I got from that part. We got they're now traders now, people from the Foundation, and so they literally trade knowledge. Is that correct? With like they just trade goods and shit. So I think this guy's is master trader. Is it Esker Gorov? Is that the name, right?
Oh.
He's an agent of the. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go. Sorry.
He is an agent of the Foundation. Again, we don't know how far removed it is from previous chapters, but he goes to. Is it Ascone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ascone. Ascone.
And from what we find out, I don't know if it's in this chapter, is that Ascone really is not a fan of modern advanced technology. Am I skipping too forward? If so, take over.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this chapter, it opens up with Lamar Poniet, and then he gets contacted.
Yeah, Vato, you started backwards. What the hell, Robert?
Dude, I had to listen to it.
Poniet gets contacted by Les Gorm, and he's telling him to go to Ascone, I think. And then Poniet talks about how he's behind quota, and going to Ascone is horrible for his career and, like, you know, his money, and he needs to make quota. And then the message that he gets tells him that the traitor Eskel Gorov is imprisoned on Ascone. And even though, you know, like, Poniet doesn't really know him or anything, he's an agent of the Foundation, and we learn why he's kind of like a good person to send over there. Poniet.
Yeah. Can I give my version? I feel like an asshole. I noticed that, like, watching back some of the episodes, it's almost like each of us have like a different take on the chapter, and I'm like, let me tell you what I got from it. But that's
what the podcast is about. We say what we want, and you explain to us what we think it should be.
Okay, so first off, it starts off with like one of the pages from the Encyclopedia Galactica, right? So it talks about traders, and the impression I got from the traders was that they're these like solo guys who are not really connected to Terminus anymore. So Robert, where I would disagree with your description just a little bit was you said that the Foundation has turned into traders. I think the Foundation is still doing its thing, but like traders are just like this new kind of thing in the system that's come about where they're off on their own. These traders are off on their own, just like trading. It seems like through nuclear supply primarily to like these different, you know, systems. And so they only ever really visit Terminus every few months or sometimes even years, right? So like they're just on their own kind of. I thought of them as like Han Solo, right?
Yeah, that's the way I was gonna say, or what I was gonna say. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like a reference.
Yeah, and even the way they describe the ships that they're using, it's just like they're like very kind of run down, put together, patchwork pieced up kind of things, right? So excuse me, damn, I'm gonna be burping while I'm drinking beer here. But so they're just on their own, and so we're introduced to three characters this chapter: Lamar Poniets, or Poniets. I just call him Lamar.
I call him
Les Poniet.
I thought it was Ponier, like Beignet.
What should we call him? Because like he's gonna be the main figure. Ponier. Like, do we refer to him as his last name? Last name Ponier. So Ponier, Les Gorm, who's not super important, and then Eskel Gorov. Right, so Lamar's just kind of doing his own thing, and he gets a transmission, and then that leads to Les Gorm, the second character, arriving on his ship, saying, "Hey, I've got a package for you," right? And they describe the package, and it's like this thing that only he can open. It's like a personal delivery thing, and then it's like a Mission Impossible kind of thing where like once you see the message, it like self implodes, you know, and so I think it like burns away, right? And so we don't know exactly what the message told him, but we know that after seeing the message, he's like, okay, I need to go to Akron. Someone is imprisoned. Eskel Gorov, right?
Ascone, not Anachron.
I mean, sorry, Ascron, thank you. Or Asconian. Yeah, Ascon, sorry.
Are we thinking Thor here?
These words, dude. Yeah, so that kind of becomes a thing because apparently there's like a convention that was brokered that says that they're not allowed to imprison traitors, which this guy was a traitor, right? But what do we learn at the end that Ponier knows about Gorov?
That he ain't nobody's bitch.
That he's an agent of the Foundation, right?
Yeah, so he's like a secret agent. Like he was apparently imprisoned as if he was a traitor, but Lamar Ponier knows that he is actually an agent of the Foundation, which is apparently a big deal. Marcus, that's 3 podcasts in a row, dude.
I turned it off.
What's going on?
I turned it off.
And so that just sets up like what the situation is going to be for this part, right? He's on his way now to go to look into whatever that is, right?
All right, we should just stick with your summaries because I think you're gonna have the best, most detailed summaries because I read this stuff 3 weeks ago. In case I.
Damn, dude. Yeah, and full transparency, man. You've already finished the book, dude.
The fucking notes.
Okay, I mean, does anyone want to add anything to part 2? I mean, to chapter 1? Okay.
Dude, I think you went over everything.
No. One other thing that's revealed about Ponier is that he was actually previously in training as a priest. Remember the priesthood?
Oh, that's the best part, yeah.
Yeah, so he said that he was kicked out, although the way it's phrased is something like I was like kicked out because of my attitude or something, or like he was like too rebellious or whatever for the priests, but then he was promoted to secular training under the Foundation. So when I read that, I got the impression that maybe the Foundation saw in him something that made him think like, okay, we should train this guy for real instead of like the kind of weird priest thing that we're doing.
Yeah. So Robert, do you think you would have done the same thing as
Ponier? I don't know. Dude, that's too much on the spot. I'm gonna say no for now. I'm not gonna give you a detailed answer why, because that would involve heavy thinking. So
that's a great question, Marcus. I refuse to answer you.
Art's like what? Okay.
We go to chapter 2.
Wait, my question is gonna be who plays Ponier in a movie?
Ponier.
Is it Ponier?
I'm not correcting you. Sorry, I'm just.
Nah, that's all right.
Huh. I didn't really get a good picture of him, man. He was kind of just like an everyman. You know who maybe I'm thinking of? Chris. What's his name?
Hemsworth.
No.
Thor?
Chris.
Pratt.
No.
Evans.
Alex. What's his name? Galaxy something? The other Marvel movie?
Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
I said Chris Pratt for like another character earlier. Or was it Chris?
You know what I noticed, man? We were naming a lot of white dudes. What's going on?
No, dude. If you go back in my history, I kept it. You know.
I said James Harden, and then I said.
That's true.
It's because it rhymed.
I said Vin Diesel. I don't know. He doesn't look white.
He's
What the hell is Vin Diesel, man? Yeah. But the reason why I say Chris Pratt was the character that he plays in.
We should have a burp count. Maybe like for this episode, I can just keep track of the burps. Like,
why am I burping in a way that I wasn't in the actual sit downs? But the character is actually kind of like that too, right? So like that's kind of the Han Solo character too, just like do it on his own. Obviously, like Chris Pratt's character in that Marvel movie.
Know, I think Harrison Ford would be good, even like at an old age right now for this role.
Yeah, I guess they don't say anything about his age, right? So he.
No, but
so also ages start is what you're talking.
For me, I kind of got the sense that he was older because he had this like whole life before as like a priest or like trying to be a priest.
You know what? That's kind of true. Yeah, he.
Okay, I know who. Bill Pullman, right? Is that his name?
Who is that, Vato?
He's the president in Independence Day. He's also the dad in Casper.
Oh, that's a good guy.
I could see him aged now.
Is that not Dennis Quaid? Do I got that wrong?
No, it's a very.
I feel like we should only be allowed to give Vatos for the Vato podcast in cast.
I know, just you know who, man? Danny Trejo, man.
He's cast in nearly all of my movies.
Okay, yeah. I guess no answer on who should play him. Chapter 2. Let's do it.
All right. Go ahead.
Should I go? Okay, so this is Lamar showing up to ASCON, right? And it starts with him heading up to meet the Grand Master, which is the chair of the Ascanian state. So that's what he's going to be referred to as, or what he was referred to as throughout the part, the Grand Master. That I don't think they actually ever gave his name, right?
No, I think that the Grand Master, they do kind of like change who he is later. Or no, it's never mind.
No, that's
Never mind. Thinking of the next part.
Orala over here. Okay, so it starts with Lamar actually lamenting the fact that he's wasting 2 weeks, right? So he's a trader. That's what he does. That's apparently like it's kind of like a sales guy, right? Like he's like on commission. He's meeting these quotas, and he's like, damn, like 2 weeks. 1 week is spent getting to Ascon, and then the second week I wasted is in the bureaucratic kind of environment that he needed to navigate to get to, excuse me, the what's his name that they're saving, Gorov. So he has to like, meet with all these like politicians and stuff to continue moving up the ladder so that they can finally grant him a meeting with the Grand Master, right? And then so he gets to the meeting finally, and it's kind of like this I mean, it makes me think of like any sort of movie with like when you go before the king and the throne, like that sort of situation. Like he has like an audience before the crown or whatever, right? And the Grand Master is clearly like impatient with oh man, do you get that little notification?
Yeah, but it's gonna let us go on, so
okay, sorry. So he gets the meeting with the Grand Master, and the Grand Master is very clearly like not a fan of the Foundation, or like really of anyone outside of their like civilization come in, and they apparently have really strict rules for like not wanting any outsiders to kind of come in, right?
And then the Grand Master also talks about how he thinks like the traders are non-believers, and that's kind of like where this chapter goes is because like Poniet has like his history of being like a religious person or spiritual person. He can kind of talk to the Grandmaster in ways that other traders can't. And I guess that's what eventually convinces them, like to accept him or like to talk to him at least, like in a more friendly way.
Yeah, so the Grandmaster is like very hesitant to even hear anything that he has to say. And he's like, Lamar is trying everything, right? He's like, oh, like he's like a rhetorician with like trying to, he knows he's talking to a king and he knows he has to kind of talk in a way to get on his good side. And he's just not hearing any of it. And then finally he's like, oh, well, at least let me talk. Because he's trying to get him to allow him to talk to Gorov, right? At least he's like, at least let me talk to him, And the last like kind of pitch that he makes is like, let me prepare him for his soul to ascend into like the afterlife or whatever. Yeah. And it's him saying that kind of gets the attention of the Grand Master. He's like, oh, I didn't know you were a believer. You know what? It is important for a soul to be prepared to go into the ancient spirits or something. And it's clear that they have their own like religion that they're like fundamentalist about. And so yeah, so he uses that as his way in. And so he I think that's the chapter. Robert?
Yeah, dude. Let me just put it this way. This is how prepared I was, and I want to apologize. I should have read it. I really did listen to the audiobook, but it's like a smidgen of what they should have told me. How you were telling me, Art. You're really it's really easy to follow. I was my mouth was sore the whole time. I was like, shit, that really happened, because I don't. Yeah, and I feel bad, but.
Yeah, one thing I'm getting from like having reviewed my notes and stuff, each one of these chapters is basically just like one little scene, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like a very usually like, so part of my notes is literally going the meeting, and then I'll put like the summary of the actual meeting. But most of these chapters are like just like a meeting, right?
I think most of the book, like it's like two characters talking, and then just like, so where are they at, and what are they talking about, and then that's
like literally every one of these things is just like one scene in the movie, right? Okay, so yeah, let's go to 3. So chapter 3 is the actual meeting between Lamar and Gorov. So he's able to get himself granted that meeting. And how does that meeting go?
Well, okay, let's see what I wrote down. I put Gurov in solitary since Poniat arrived. Okay, so I remember Gurov's in solitary, he's in trouble, you know? And then Poniat kind of begins telling him, like, I'm here pretending to be your spiritual advisor. That Grand Master's a little bit pious. And then Gurov tells him his mission, which was like to sell nucleotoids to form religion-controlled commercial empire. So you kind of learn how the Foundation views religion as a tool more so than like an actual spiritual practice for, you know, betterment or whatever. And then this is what Robert was referring to when we were going over the first chapter, which was like you kind of get the sense that advanced science and nukes are kind of like a sign of the old regime, and that, you know, whatever happened with that has them so upset that they don't even want to think about that stuff. They want to learn about it. And then, you know, Poniat's there kind of risking his life, and then you kind of start to see that he's going to try to make his money while he's there and make quota. And then Gurov, he kind of talks about too how he wants to change the atmosphere there, and you know, that way he could trade with them. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Where does the machine come into play? The iron into the gold. I thought that was happening.
Yeah, I think that's like the next one.
Got it.
That's
It's the next chapter.
I think that's actually 2 chapters from then. Oh no, you're right. That is the next chapter.
And then I think in the chapter after that they do like a bigger version.
So what chapter 3 does, which is interesting, is it kind of sets up the history of both what the culture is like, or what the religion is in Ascon, which is they refer to these old spirits, right? And what we know is that these old spirits are actually referencing the initial Ascons who rebelled against the old galactic empire. And to them at the time, and still now, what the galactic empire represented was like the science and the technology and all that came with, like, you know, what was at that time the greatest, you know, civilization in that galaxy. And so they were able to kind of get independence from them. And so from that, they just now view like any sort of technology and science as like, you know, these like bad spiritual practices, right? It's like evil
you guys,
stuff.
I just thought of a great joke. Are you guys ready?
Let's hear it.
I'm ready.
What's the Grandmaster's favorite ice cream? What's the Grandmaster's favorite thing to put his ice cream in? Ass cone.
No.
That's good. Yeah, and so we know that much about.
Anyways, as we were saying,
so we know that much about just like the history of where Ascon is, right? So they're also like kind of like a primitive people, right? You know, what's interesting to think about is like the Foundation. It's like, I wonder what commentary Asimov is making of like foreign policy, because like it seems like anyone who's not part of like whatever empire he's on the side of is like barbaric, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how, you know, a lot of Western civilization has looked at other civilizations throughout history, which is interesting.
What was Asimov's political party? Do we know, if we're going to get deeper into it?
I have no idea, honestly.
We should have done some research about him as a person. We should do that.
Yeah, you guys talk. I'm going to look him up. I can do it while you guys are discussing the book.
It almost seems like he's just like a guy wanting to live out his like badass fantasies, like, you know, just like somebody being right or like kind of being stubborn, but then eventually they turn out like they're right.
Yeah, I've seen some interviews with him, and he's like definitely like a character where it seems like he kind of like he came into prominence pretty early, I think, and this was written in the 50s. I know the interviews that I've seen are like decades after that, and he's, you know, on like Johnny Carson, and so I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Like, he was a public figure though, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, he was. So this is his religion was. He's an atheist, humanist, and a rationalist, and then his politics. He was a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party during the New Deal, and then he was a vocal opponent of the Vietnam War, and that's it. That's part. I'm citing Wikipedia, by the way, so take that.
I mean, I would have guessed that he would be an
accurate.
atheist just based off of maybe the science background for one, but then two, even bigger, is like his views on religion throughout the book have been nothing but bad. Like,
Yeah, that's actually been interesting too, right? Like that's been a pretty consistent with like kind of coloring all religious people or all religious belief as like just like superstitious belief, you know.
Or do you have like a lamp or something? You look like you're getting sucked into a black hole.
Dude, so what's going on is I got this one lamp and I have my window open and I can see that the sun is setting, so like that's my main light source here. You know what, I was talking to my sister and I was supposed to get one of those ring things, but I think I'm just gonna buy one, so maybe by next time I'll have one. Hey, but I mean, not to go too off topic, but this is working out pretty okay, I think, right, as a podcast.
I think so too. I
My concern is that it won't, it'll be too big of a file to let me save or something. So I guess how that goes.
So my concern was mainly like I thought there was going to be a lot of like overlap with like us talking and like just like dead noise with like trying to wait for the other person to, you know. But anyway, okay, so chapter 3. What we also know is that, so this is Lamar finding Gorov, right? He has a meeting with him, and Gorov is surprised, and he's like, why the hell are you here? You know, like they obviously know each other from before. And what Gorov lets Lamar know, well, one, he says, the way to get me out of here is to actually bribe the Grandmaster. What they're into is gold, right? So he's like, that's how you're gonna, like, that's your big variable here. And then he's also like, so Lamar is like, dude, you got to tell me more about what the situation is here. I need to know the full story before I like go back and kind of talk out of my ass like I've been doing. And so Gorov then explains that he's there on a mission from the Foundation, and what he's there to do is to literally try to kind of disrupt the power by having these people who don't accept the technology to finally accept nuclear power. And the reason that they want to do that is that they think that once they can get that civilization to start buying into wanting nuclear power, then the Foundation can start exerting its power over them, right? It's like political power. And so that's kind of interesting too, because like one thing that we've been talking about a bit before is like we don't really know who the good guys are, but that doesn't seem like a good guy move, you know? So like if we think that the Foundation right now is still the good guys and they're the ones that are going to continue, you know, civilization and all this, it's like they're being very kind of they're operating in some gray areas, or maybe not even gray areas. Like that's pretty explicitly like, we're going to go kind of mess with your politics to exert influence over you.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I mean, seems like real life, bro.
It's like all these protagonists are almost kind of like manifest destiny types, but with Selden's vision.
Yeah.
Like we're just like, fuck whatever is in the path. We know where we're going.
But we also don't know. So what we don't get in this part is we don't know about any of the politics within Terminus or the Foundation. Like we don't know who's leading. You know, before we obviously had Salvador Hardin, who was leading the whole thing, and he was like very in line with Selden's mission, right?
Yeah.
And we have no idea what's going on. Like like we said, we don't even know how much time has passed.
I miss Hardin, to be honest.
Yeah, but obviously the Foundation is still like, you know, on some mission if they're sending this guy to go mess with them. Okay, so Gorov gives him his plan, and Lamar gives him like a counter plan. What is his plan for getting him out?
Marcus, sorry guys.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
he was you said he was going to give him the medal, right?
Yeah.
The gold.
So
is that what you're saying?
He wanted him to offer gold. Yeah.
Wait, did we move to chapter 4 already?
Not yet.
Oh.
So, I mean, really the only other thing that happened was Lamar like hears out Gorov, who's telling him like, okay, you need to go get gold, or you need to go offer the what's his name again? The Grandmaster. He's like, he likes gold, so offer him gold. And the way you do that is you go to the Foundation and then you get all the gold necessary to come back. And Lamar is like, dude, after you told me your plan, like I got a better plan. First of all, you're a diplomat. So like the idea that you're trying to sell these people nuclear power or whatever, or like trying to sell the technology. Basically, he's like, I'm a trader. Like, this is what I do. Let me do this, right? And so he's like, I'll take over. I'll sell the nuclear power, or like get them to buy into nuclear, and then
Nuclear.
and he and I
did you do the did you do the Donald Trump impression?
I did.
I thought,
and so
it's terrible.
And so that's the last thing he says of the chapter. He's just
Nuclear.
like, I'm a trader and I've never missed my quota, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty confident in his ability to do whatever he intends to do.
Man, that guy's a real vato. He's the type of guy that doesn't take a day off even when he's sick. He's like, I got work to do. I gotta go. I mean, who cares about family?
Nuclear.
Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah. So that was chapter 4, or that was chapter 3.
Okay,
Chapter
and then
4.
Chapter 4, Ponietz is isolated. He's surrounded. He has no weapons. All he has, his only tool, is the art of the bribe. He's talking to, or putting on a show, it's kind of described, for the Grand Master plus his like little minion Furl. And then they're kind of talking about the gold and whether it's like nuclear in nature, because Furl's like, man, this gold, I don't know if it's good. It's from a poison source. Because Ponietz like turns a buckle into gold to impress them. And then Ponietz like, hey man, a rose can grow from mud. We can make shrines with this gold. What's the big idea, man? Let me do what I'm doing. And then Furl's like, it's an affront to the ancestors. And then he's like, but you're trading it for a heathen, you know, like a guy who's in jail right now. I mean, it's not like he's worth much to you guys. And then, Ponietz with his logical appeal, he guarantees that like it'll do what they want. And then I think after that they request like a meeting, right? Like another meeting. Or like, what does he do? Does he give him some like a gift at that point, or is that next?
Yeah. So he grants him, I think. He grants him. Wow. Actually, I don't know. Let's see.
Robert.
Yo, my lighting sucks, dude.
Notes.
Huh? All right, what are you using? Like a computer?
Yeah, it's my computer. Oh, so I was gonna try to use my DSLR, and there is a way, but I need to buy some little cables. So next time for sure. Especially, I mean, even if we do it this week, I'll look better. But hopefully my mic is.
It's good for a Halloween episode though.
Is there a light in there?
It's like a
light?
Yeah, dude, I got like a lamp right on top of me.
Better at that angle.
I have like vaulted ceilings here, so like I don't have like a ceiling light here. But yeah, but Marcus, that was right on point with the summary. For dramatic effect, though, let me say that Furl is the counselor of the Grand Master, right? And so he's the kind of guy that's whispering in his ear, right? Yeah. Almost like Venus, right? Remember King Leopold? And Venus was always kind of whispering in his ear, like obviously with his own view of things.
Just like a little henchman, dude. Just like a little.
Yeah, or do you guys remember the Lord of the Rings? Remember the Two Towers?
Yeah.
That like slimy guy who was obviously evil. So that's kind of who Furl is, right? We're given that impression of him. And so Lamar's there to try to convince first off, he's there to give him the gold, right? And say like, I got gold for you. But he obviously puts on a show, and the show is like, he's like, I don't actually just have gold. I have this device that I put together, and what it can do is turn any iron that you have into gold. And I know you guys have a lot of iron. And so that obviously so that's the Grandmaster's ears perk up a bit. And so he's kind of trying to convince him as to why that's a good thing and that why he should accept it. And the big risk here is that he's obviously using nuclear power in the device. Like the device itself is like, he's like coming into the court going, I know you guys are all about not nuclear power, and you guys actually have like can give all these criminal charges for anyone.
Like a bunch of cavemen, like, no.
Yeah.
No nukes.
And so he's there to be like, I can turn it to gold, but it's used as nuclear power. And so the Grandmaster's like trying to put him to the test, and he offers him his like little cane thing. And he's like, that's too big, man. And so the Grandmaster looks around, and someone offers, or he's actually like, give him your buckles. And so he gets like little buckles. And so he puts them into the little device, and sure enough, like turns into gold. And he reaches out his hand, and he's like waiting for the Grandmaster, and he's not really moving. He's still like he's curious, obviously, but he's like hesitant. And so he still tries to keep talking just to fill in he says, I talked, but it was because I was trying to fill in the vacuum, right?
Yeah.
And this whole time, Furl's like whispering in his ear, and then it even starts talking, saying like, you can't accept that. That's tainted, right? Like you said. And what would that do to our ancestors, right? That would be, blasphemous or whatever. And so Lamar's there trying to argue again. That's also kind of maybe another thing that keeps happening, is that these people are put into these situations, and they just kind of have to talk their way out of it, like Salvador Hardin with you guys remember what's his name? Hot, that guy. Same thing. He's just like backed into a corner, but he has to kind of continue to just like take whatever's there for him. And so yeah, he finally convinces him again using spiritual language, which he says, he's like, I'm glad I had my spiritual training, because I was able to use it to like communicate with this Grandmaster who was very moved by it. Obviously, he's like, I think what he says at one point is like, why don't you accept this gold? And if it is bad, then why don't you keep me for 30 days? And if in 30 days nothing bad happens, then you'll know that the gold is like not cursed or anything, right? And then plus you can use all this device to turn gold and like make statues and like present it to all your like spiritual ancestors. So he's just trying to convey to him like, you should be doing this, right?
I got another joke for you guys. You guys ready?
Let's hear it.
Please.
Why was Gaurav late to the rodeo? He didn't have.
Listen to Grant. Oh shit! Sorry, go.
Oh, yeah.
Get one.
You messed up the punchline, Robert.
I thought he was gonna let us guess.
He didn't have his pony yet.
He
Marcus, I'm sure you can edit that out to where.
Wait. Say that again.
Why was Gaurav late to the rodeo? He didn't have his pony yet. Lamar pony yet?
Last name. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
I'm sure that could be edited to where there's a clean delivery. And
I'm just gonna edit you guys to like a part where you're laughing really hard.
That's hilarious.
Oh, dude. I'm sure the comments people are gonna say like, you could definitely tell if you zoom in on Robert that he did not read this. Dude, it wasn't my and I take blame again, but.
Okay, so we were supposed to write jokes for this episode. That was determined like way back when we were still thinking we were gonna do just like a normal sit down, and it just kind of crept up on me, man. I did look up YouTube. I just like literally searched on YouTube how to write a joke, and
dude, that's cool though.
Just to get the formula, because like I was very confident that I was gonna come across tons of videos, and I did, and there were tons of like really good videos. There was Jerry Seinfeld breaking that down. There was Joe Rogan breaking that down. Who else? There's one more person that
should I just give you guys my set right now?
Let's hear it. How many do you have?
Okay, well, I thought you guys were gonna attack the weenus jokes pretty hard, so I didn't do that. God damn it, I was supposed to say or harden, like. I don't want to be a Lord Darwin and we peeped any jokes. Okay.
That's
so
good.
My first joke. What is every sci-fi girl's favorite makeup? Foundation.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, here's another one. What is Isaac Asimov's favorite button on the keyboard? Space.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. You got another one?
Those are good, man. How long did you take to write those, honestly?
I wrote them whenever I was texting you guys. I think it was like the day that we were trying to do it.
So like you sat down and you just like wrote these in like one sitting?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Okay, that's cool.
Art's mind is blown.
Joe Rogan said that that's not how you're supposed to do it. It's not supposed to come that easy.
Yes.
That's cool, man. Are you guys familiar with like Masterclass? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen like the Steve Martin one?
I've seen the Rick Martin one.
This is how you do it. No.
You want to live your life more loca?
Damn, dude, you guys can just like knock these out of nowhere.
Okay. I don't know if you're being sarcastic now or just.
No, not at all.
Like Ricky Martin jokes.
Art's gonna give us the next subject, but like secretly look up jokes before it's. Anyways. That wasn't a good joke, Art. It's not like it just jumps. They're not all hits.
No, that's cool though. That's a good thing to be able to do. I don't know.
Wait. So what were you saying about Steve Martin? Or you're just referencing?
Oh, just that. It was just like he has a class on writing jokes, and or just how, like, I think it's like literally called How to Be Funny, maybe. I should obviously look into that, Vatos. All right, chapter 5. Shall we move on to chapter 5? So okay, are we on chapter 4 or 5?
Oh yeah, chapter 5.
Yeah, so 2 more chapters. This was actually a very short part, and we're talking about it like it's not maybe, but it was literally 30 pages. So
maybe that's why this episode has been so much filler. But sometimes the filler is the real killer.
Sometimes it really is, and sometimes you need to use it when you're desperate. Okay.
All right, so joke?
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't have any.
How about this episode just turns into how to write a joke, and then at the end we all have to come up with a joke, but we could be here forever.
I'll do like a joke at the end, and like that'll be like everyone going like, "Oh my god, they did it!"
You know what I was thinking about? Like the punchline, it has to be something related to like the book or like the genre or something. Like the punchline was the important part. So just like once you find like a word that's funny, like I did earlier with ass cone, I was like, ass cone. It sounds like a cone.
It's like you worked your way backwards.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what goes in a cone? Ice cream. Wow.
Huh.
Like, hey, you know what? My favorite part of this is terrible. Okay, let me think about this one. Hey, do you know where my book is? Yeah, it's in the Lost and Foundation. Boom. Mic drop. There's mine. No?
That's good. I feel like I know what you guys are doing, and I'm trying to think, but like I don't have anything yet. But I'm priming my brain. All right, so chapter 5. Do you think people even care about the book? Like they're like, God, he really wants to go back to the book, doesn't he?
Okay, well, this episode is going to be like if somebody was keeping up for the book, this is the episode where it's like make or break. Like, do I like these guys, or am I just going to turn this shit off?
Yeah.
But if they're just watching for us, this is like a A+ episode maybe.
Hopefully.
I agree. I think we're doing really well for our first, hopefully one of our few Zoom chats. I know we already talked about the progress earlier on, so maybe that's. But no, I'm proud of us.
So chapter 5.
I feel like I have to keep this angle on my face so that like there can be light on me. Otherwise, it's just like anything else is.
Well, that's kind of like the most Vato look you could be doing.
That or that one. What was it? That one Queen album where you're just like all like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Poniatz is in Furl's suburban villa. Furl criticizes his whole show as clumsy. And then Poniatz says that, man, I can't read my handwriting. Have medicine or machine. Okay, they have a machine, the transmuter, that turns steel into gold. I guess you were kind of going over this in the last one. And then Furl hands Poniatz some. Oh, wait, no. I thought it said he hands him a bar, but I put Furl has Poniatz by the balls. And then
Marcus, can you show everyone your handwriting, please?
Oh, yeah.
Don't mess with the legend.
Oh my god, that's terrible, dude. Did I just see you using like different colored pens in the same paragraph?
Hey, that's nothing to make fun of about it, right? That's very helpful.
Okay.
It's the only pen I buy.
How do you decide on like every adjective will be read?
Hey, maybe they can be our advertisers, right? We posted the link below, and you can buy the pens now for.
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, yeah.
Comment on YouTube.
I wonder what company still makes those. You know, like, are they only making those colored pens?
That one company's made them this whole time. They own it. They own that.
It's the guys that make lighters.
Oh,
wow.
Bic.
I think I support them there too. Oh yeah, give me a big sponsorship.
Yeah. So what we see is that Furl is in a meeting with Lamar, right? And Lamar is like, dude, what the hell is up with your showmanship? Like, clearly there's some ulterior motives here, because if you really wanted to give us gold, you would have just given us gold. There was no need to like show us the device, right, that was going to turn it into gold.
Yeah.
Especially if you knew that we're like anti-technology. So what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's reading him, and Lamar is like, okay, you caught me. Like, I did have ulterior motives, and basically I wanted to get an audience with you, which I've done. Because he was also like, and plus you asked for 30 days to be quarantined. That was obviously to talk to someone. He's like, yeah.
And that's the part I related to most in this whole section, was being quarantined.
I know, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, when he was describing his quarantine, he was like, I just gave up like even caring. I was just like, whatever, I'm in quarantine. And I was like, yes, Vato, that's
Dude, that's how it is in real life.
That's the Doritos, man.
And so yeah.
What
so
junk food? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You want?
I was gonna say, what junk food have you guys found yourself resorting to most in quarantine? Like, what type of junk food?
Cookies.
Oh,
What kind of cookies?
I get them from like healthy food stores. So they're like, you know, like as healthy as cookies get, but not really healthy. Like they're Oreo type of cookies. Sometimes
are
they're
they like the vegan ones?
I don't know. I just go with the ones that have like the least amount of ingredients most of the time.
I've Robert, you know this of me. My big vice in life has been chips, chip consumption. And but one thing I've done recently is I've switched over to plantain chips, and I don't think that they're any healthier, but that's what I've been eating. Just a lot of plantain chips.
nice.
Wow.
Amy's ice cream we get a couple times, but you know, you feel okay because it's supporting local.
Hey, do you
What,
get
at the same time.
ice cream in an ass cone?
There we go. No, but they
what?
deliver really quickly.
Oh shit, they
There's
deliver.
one right next to where you live.
Yeah, and I'm
What-
like, I could have just gone and get it, but then sometimes.
What
you're
flavor
like,
do you
know
get?
what? I get a chocolate. I get a chocolate shake, so I get the Mexican vanilla with the cookie dough and Oreo.
Yeah, dude, I've always been pretty simple. What'd you get, Marcus?
I said, hey, how about that cookie dough?
Was that a punchline, Waffle?
It's like cookie dough with the TH or cookie
Oh,
dough
no.
with the D.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, quarantine life, you know, it's
Quarantine life, man. I bet other podcasts
Would've
are doing the
thought.
same thing, like literally just like also have moved to Zooming. Yeah. Any shout outs you guys want to give? Podcasts? They're brothers in arms now that we've started this.
Oh, Brothers in Cursive. I love Brothers in Cursive.
What is that?
It's kind of just like it's like two comedians, but they're not really like famous. But they're from the Kill Tony show, so it's like a Kill Tony spinoff. They're like the regulars on Kill Tony, and then they made their own podcast.
Gotcha.
So I guess that's two for you.
Cool. All right, should we finish off this chapter?
Yeah, man, let's get through it.
All right, so it's chapter 5, right? So he so it's Furl and Lamar talking. Furl's like, okay, I kind of understand why you're here and what you're doing. Lamar's like, yes, I wanted to get an audience with you. And he's like, why? And he's like, well, I kind of have a proposition for you, right? I want to sell you this device and help you, because he's like, listen, I've looked into your history, Furl, and it turns out you're not from the original 5 tribe families that are apparently like what started their civilization, right? And he's like, so it's kind of odd that you're so ambitious and such a young politician, and you've already risen up so much to be like in the ear of the Grand Master, but you know that he's going to kind of die soon. And do you think that the masses are going to accept someone that's not part of the 5 families?
This guy's like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Even with Harden, you know, like all those conversations were very like just like out conniving each other.
Yeah, everybody's a manipulator.
And so yeah, so he's like, I want to help you. What I want to do is I want to try to get you to, I want to sell you the gold basically, or give you the gold so that you can continue to rise to power, and then just, yeah, like I guess the end goal is to have him under his influence, right?
Correct.
Robert, do you have anything?
Robert, you don't remember Vato.
Dude, I thought, okay, honestly, again, a great summary, but I thought we said this part like 5 times already. That
Robert,
the machine.
What happened, like in your version of like what you read, like, or like what you heard, like what do you remember?
I honestly think I was thinking about a couple times during. I'm like, am I reading the same? Is this the same book that I was reading? Because again, the guy's talking to you, and you're like, okay, we got new names. Of course, it's not going to be anyone I knew from the past. So just like that was a challenge already, following different names. And then really, I just thought, yeah, I had like, when you when people bullshit when they say I got the gist of it, I really thought I got the gist of it. Apparently, I did not get the gist of it.
That's
and
okay. That's how our president of the United States reads too. So.
Oh, okay, dude. Great connection. It's, you know what, dude? It's going to be 2 random bottles in like 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just trying to set up like the kind of the politics going on in the background, right? So he's like trying to say, like, dude, I can help you with your own problem, which is trying to ascend to the Grand Mastership, and so yeah. So at the end, he's Furl is kind of reluctant to do it a little bit, and he's like, well, I need security. I need you to stay here for a week so that I know that the device you give me is going to work. So he's giving him the device that turns the iron to gold. Oh, and one thing too that Furl says is like, he's like, that device means nothing to me because I won't even be able to use it. Because like obviously the big masses here don't believe in technology, so I would have to use it in secret. And that's when Lamar's like, yeah, but you can still use the gold. Like the gold is what's important. And he's like, okay, yeah, you're right. But he's like, but you need to be here for a week.
Inflation.
Yeah, I know, right? And so he's like, but you need to be here for a week so that I know that this is going to continue to, this device won't just like stop working as soon as you leave. And so somehow it kind of seems like Lamar stumbles upon that. Like he kind of is not super, he just like kind of gets outmaneuvered because he apparently doesn't want to stay, but he's like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, it's either that or death, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's chapter 5.
And here we are at the last chapter.
Chapter 6, finally.
Jesus Christ.
Were you guys at all wanting, I was hoping for the last chapter to be Selden again, like to be another like in the room with Selden coming back doing something.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I always thought that's how they all ended.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robert. What'd you say?
No, I said the same thing. I felt like it was a missed opportunity because at least he's like the glue that holds everything together. And then you're just like, so we're not going to hear of him like at all? Okay, cool. And then
yeah, I guess that's probably part of why I felt like it wasn't a super compelling chapter, because like they didn't connect this to any of the previous characters or even any of the story arcs, you know, like they didn't even talk about like where the Foundation was trying to go and like where they were on their mission for like continuing that next chapter of civilization and the Second Galactic Empire. This was just kind of like a weird side story of like, oh, by the way, this is what's going on.
You know, it's interesting that you guys are kind of like talking about that, almost like like they're their own short stories. I was reading Wikipedia today, and that's the way they were published initially. Was like each section was like published like in different magazines. And it was
Oh,
only
you know
later
what?
that he like put them all together and made Foundation.
I remember reading that. Isn't it weird how a lot of fiction writing starts off that way?
I
It's
think that's
like
how you used to get paid, man.
they'll just like submit essays
Hmm. I
to.
mean,
I wonder if
Charles Dickens used to get paid by the word, and so like I think it was like every word was like a penny.
like
So like oh, that's why.
everybody was super wordy.
Yeah.
Do you remember reading whether he had the whole story before he started publishing the parts?
Foundation. I don't know. I would
Yeah,
guess
because that'd be
not,
interesting.
but I'm sure he had like some idea.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird to think about or like to see people talk about the writing process, and it's like oftentimes I'm surprised by people saying like I kind of had an outline, but like it didn't really come to me until like I started writing, you know.
Have you ever
But I
tried
guess
writing anything?
nothing fiction, like nothing where I have to like keep a coherent like story in my head about like where I want it to go.
Man, we should have like a writing contest or like do like 10-page short stories from each of us and then do like book clubs on that. That'd be fun.
What about
Yeah, that
also we do that and then we kind of type it all up, right? So it's kind of anonymous who wrote what, and we shuffle it all up and we get each other's and we read it out loud. And wait, how long are these things?
I said 10 pages, but I mean I just threw that out.
Oh shoot, never mind. I was like, we're not gonna do a whole audio book. I thought it was like a paragraph. And you're like,
dude, you know
wow.
what would be maybe kind of fun is there's this like thing that people do. I know I've heard of it before, where it's especially cool between writers, which we're not obviously, or at least I'm not. But where like every person will start a chapter, like Marcus, you'll start a chapter, and I'll have to continue that story with the same
Oh, dude,
characters
that
for
sounds
another
cool.
chapter, and then like
You guys want to do
that.
it with words right now? Let's try to do
Yeah.
like two sentences or one sentence. Let's do one sentence, I guess, to start.
But there has to be like a theme or something that we're trying to, right?
Say a word.
Because
No.
otherwise it's just
Yeah.
like talking and it's just absurdity.
Try it.
Okay, try it.
So like, let's figure it out.
Robert, you start.
Well,
I
Didn't.
go.
really.
Oh shit! Sorry, I messed up. You know what? I'm looking at it as it like Robert, you're on the bottom here for me in my screen, and I'm in the middle, and Marcus is on top. So like I saw it as just going up and like coming back down. But yeah, it makes more sense.
Robert
Just
on bottom, and then you on the left, and then me on the right.
okay. We can just do like
Are we,
the same order, and we'll go that same order.
Robert,
Continue.
Art, Marcus, Robert.
Yeah.
Here we go. Trying. Okay, trying
The
Rewind.
machine
learning
Bigotry.
is
not
Expected.
to
succumb
Sexually.
rather
adroitly.
There we go. Obviously, it was a failure.
Yeah, I want to see what that sentence looked like on paper because
honestly though, you were trying to throw me off, Art and Marcus.
I was just trying to see if that word would have made sense. I was trying to like think of the sentence, but I couldn't because it was absurd.
Chapter
Yeah.
6.
Chapter 6.
Grav is traded for the gold transmuter. They're being escorted by Furl's navy, Grav and Poniet. And Grav kind of repeats that he wants Ascone to use the nucleix. And then Poniet's blackmails Furl. And then I think like the Grand Master actually, or what happens at the end here? I forgot.
Robert, you can take it away.
The guy who wants to be Grandmaster is pretty much, I heard he is backing out of the deal or saying like he's ain't going to pay his fair share of shit. And that's Farrell said that. And Poitner or Ponier It's like, bro, I got this thing hooked up with a recording device, you mother. I will frame you. Right? Am I going on?
Yeah.
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 So it initially starts off actually with Gore. So they're being escorted out, both Gorov and Lamar, and by like their navy or whatever, right? And they're talking in you guys got that, right? They were in two separate ships. It was kind of hard to make out.
They're
Okay,
like in their own private ship.
Yeah, so they're communicating, wirelessly, and Gorov is kind of like, dude, what did you do? Like, thanks for getting me out of here, but did you not understand that we're trying to get them to use the nuclear power?
And then he was
your plan,
he was going to go directly back, anyways, too, right?
Yeah, and so the criticism that Gorov has is like, he's like, dude, the deal you cut with what's his name again? Furl. He's like, the deal you cut with him is like, you got him to accept the gold, but you're not going you didn't get him to accept the technology, which was the whole point of me being here. Like, they need to use that out in the open. They need to start accepting the technology so that then we can get the foundation to exert their influence. But if they're doing it in secret, then it's all for nothing. And so he's kind of like, just like going after him. And Lamar, for whatever reason, he's just like putting up with it. And he's like, no, just trust me. And then finally he's like, okay, let me tell you what actually happened. And so he's like, I spoke to Furl, and he had me in a bind. And so what I did that he didn't know is that I attached that recording device, like you said, and then I showed it to him. And so it was the first time, one, he didn't know that he was getting recorded, obviously, but then two, Furl and like really no one on that planet and world had seen like a 3D like transmission signal thing, which he recorded. Like, so he basically like recorded him, right? And so he was freaked out apparently, and he was like, he was acting like a kid, like he was seeing like supernatural stuff, because this is all new technology to him. So at that point, he's like, I got him to do whatever I wanted to do, right? So we're actually being led to like some mines or something, to where he's gonna collect, right? So he's still a trader. He's like, dude, I got to make quotas still. So like, I like upcharged him a whole lot, and I'm gonna get my money's worth here.
Incredible.
But
song.
yeah, I'm trying to think if I missed anything here. Yeah, I think
Robert,
that's
do you
it.
want to do like a Vato reenactment for one of the scenes? Your favorite scene?
No. Okay. Throw the scene out there and I'll do it.
I don't know. Was there any great scene?
Dude.
I think the best. Okay, what do you guys think the best reenactment has been in our podcast of a scene? Because I have my pick.
I don't know. Well, say yours.
The Prince Leopold and the chair.
That's gonna be our greatest hits, dude.
I know, dude.
We should just do a flashback to that.
Marcus, get on it.
And then in the future episode, we talk about how we talked about it being the best one, and then it just goes in circles.
That's how culture starts, man. You just gotta be self-referential.
Do you guys remember when I was doing all those jokes?
Yeah. That was a great part of it. Can we say nuclear one more time?
Nuclear.
Do we want to talk about politics at all? I feel like there have been some missed opportunities in the last few. Like we were very topical the first like 2 episodes, maybe.
I took a few shots today.
Yeah, I guess we did. We talked about COVID.
Yeah, I just got compared to the president, so that was.
You read like
I'm still holding on to that one.
It was more of a burn of the president than it was of you. I was comparing you to the president, which should be like the most distinguished position in the United States.
Should be.
Anything, maybe it was like a compliment towards you.
Nuclear. Well.
Robert? Why don't you take a stab at
Oh God.
Trump talking about the foundation, right? Like him trying to make sense of like what this book's about.
Like if Trump was in the book club.
Yeah.
Marcus, you make a lot of sense, because honestly, I could just do what I thought in Trump voice. Listen, the foundation, great story. It's a book, by the way. I don't know. People don't really read too many of them. I wrote one. It's a bestseller. this magnificent guy who wrote it. It's a little kooky. Anyways, Foundation. Foundation's a great book, by the way. Have you read Foundation? Magnificent book. Anyways, this chapter is about two, different, some good and bad people, But they get together and they trade, because some people really want the ultimate, But anyways, it's a good book all around. Thank you. That's what I got. I think I went too long.
No, that's good, man. That's you got a good trump. Yeah.
That was,
Well, should we talk about the next episode or prediction? Or I guess you guys can give your predictions, and I can tell you how wrong you are.
Dude, I'm hoping they move on to other characters, because I can't. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, just like
the trader or something.
I just like, it didn't really like this could have happened. Like, I assume this sort of thing is happening in the world, but it's like, why are you telling me about it? As a reader, none of this seemed super important to the goal of the Foundation.
Let me guys give you some relief here and say, I think this part is mostly meant to set up, I think, like the next part.
That's good. It's good to know. I'll actually read next time. I will.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking that
it's our season finale with this
season
series.
finale, man.
I think we should do one more afterwards, just like a closure type of thing. Man.
Yeah, we could do greatest hits. We could do a look back and.
Part 4, by the way, it's fucking long. You guys are in for it, man. You guys can't do your. Let me read before the episode starts.
I know.
Dude,
we're gonna make this next episode special.
How's that gonna work?
We should get everyone's feedback first in the comments below. All the listeners we have, and tell us what you thought about this episode. If you like the structure, if you think maybe we should do it in person or not. I mean, we're not gonna tell you guys, hey, vote. Do you guys want us to meet together? No,
I know.
If people are gonna vote, let's do it.
We have to do it, but we have to do it outside and with face masks, and then maybe we could do it on a rooftop so we get like YouTube back in the day.
Maybe I'll tell scary stories next time.
We'll do it from a park. That was pretty good art.
Right? Shadowface.
Jokes.
That was improv too. Yeah. What's going to be interesting is, like, we're recording this now, and there are only like a few people who are currently watching our stuff, but this is going to be online for a very long time, right? So, like, someone can be watching this who, like, read the Foundation 5 years from now, and will be coming back to this episode going, oh,
or maybe Isaac Asimov, before he dies, like, he just was like, let me see what Mexicans think of my stuff.
I think he's dead, dude. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Well, from heaven, like, he's just like, or like, I forgot he's an atheist. From the dirt, he can just be like,
if heaven exists, that doesn't mean atheists don't go.
I know, Vato, but I feel like I should give them the respect of their spiritual beliefs in life, afterlife as well.
Well said. Beautiful.
Amen.
All right, yeah. So next episode, I guess we're gonna try to knock out like the 100+ page section.
Yeah, you guys try to do like
a banger
or something.
Yeah, when do we think we want to get together for this? Maybe this is too transparent, but.
Well, let's do this. Hey guys, thank you guys for watching 3 Random Vatos. I'm Robert.
I'm Arturo.
I'm Marcus.
We'll see you next time.